Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing a video on guppy breeding and keeping. I know this is a video of a betta, but I needed something to start this video with. The first thing we're going to be talking about is tank setup and basics. The first thing you're going to need is obviously a tank. There's so many options out there. There's tank kits, there's singular tanks, there's a lot of options. But for this specific video and for the purpose of this video, which is mainly showing you how to breed and how to take care of them, we're not going to go with a tank kit because tank kits, while they are easy to find and usually cheaper, there are some stuff in there that's not safe for babies or just not the best for fish in general. The minimum tank size you're going to want to get is a 5-gallon. For baby fish, I really recommend a sponge filter because it's really gentle, but it also filters out the water very well and keeps it very clear. I also recommend stuff like live plants and hides because it helps clear the water up, and two, it makes them feel safer and it helps them get away from their parents, because if you didn't know this, guppies are actually cannibalistic and will eat their young. While live plants is the best option for plants, there's alternatives. I know a lot of beginners have trouble keeping live plants alive, so you can use something like a silk plant. You really don't want to use a plastic plant because they tend to be sharp and can cut the fish. If you do want to use a plastic plant, make sure you feel over it, and if it's rough on you, it's going to cut your fish. Something you also want to use, but it's not necessary, is a breeder box. You put the pregnant female into the box, and once she's about to give birth, she'll have the babies and they'll fall through the bottom and get separated from both her and everyone in the rest of the tank so they can't be eaten. Then you can move the female back into the main tank and the babies can grow out in there. One of the best foods you can feed your guppies is the fluval bug bites. These mimic their natural diet and are amazing for them. Something that is absolutely necessary, but most people don't usually point out, is that you need a water conditioner. I use the Aqueon one and it works really well. This removes all the chlorine and dangerous substances in your tap water. A lot of new fish keepers don't actually do this, but it's very, very important. You want to cycle your tank. Cycling your tank will kill the ammonia that comes into the water when you add fish. If you don't want to cycle your tank for a month, you can add a dose of Quick Start into the water and then let it cycle for about a week and then slowly, gradually add fish. Something that a lot of fish keepers usually overlook is that guppies are tropical fish and need a heater. Heaters are non-negotiable, especially when you're breeding. The next thing we're going to be talking about is how you tell males and females apart. Oftentimes, whenever you buy guppies, you have specific genders in mind that you want. This is a video of my female guppy, Mrs. Puff. You can tell she's a female because of her less bright coloration, and she's a lot more neutral, and she also doesn't have an anal fin. I'll pop up a photo of what a male looks like in a second. This is her up close. You can see that while she does have a pattern, she doesn't actually have any color. Some females do have color, but their tails are shaped differently, and they're always bigger and fatter than the males are. Also, if you look closely, you can see that she has a gravid spot, which is that spot at the base of her tail above her last fin. So I'll get into more of what this means later, but I will say now that that does mean that she's pregnant. Here's an example of a female that has color on her. The females are never going to be as bright or as colorful as the males, but there is a chance that they do have color on them. Note the lack of an anal fin. These are my males, Aquaman and Zorro. You can tell straight off the bat that they're already a lot more colorful than the females behind them. Males are always brighter and colorful than the females because they need to be bright and colorful to attract mates. They're also smaller than the females because the females need the extra space to carry their babies. Also, sorry about how blurry this clip is for most of the time. I could not get my phone to focus on the right thing. This is an up-close look at Aquaman, and you'll notice that he's not only bright and colorful, but he also has an extra fin. This is his anal fin. He uses this to impregnate the female, and only the males have this. This is a photo of a male and female that I found so you can compare. As you can see, the male is also slimmer than the female is. This isn't always the case, especially if you're overfeeding your fish, but most of the time it will be. Okay, and last but not least, we're going to be talking about breeding guppies. So once you actually have your male and your female pair, you don't actually really have to do much. You put them together and they eventually breed. What the main thing you want to be worried about is getting those babies out before the parents get the chance to eat them. Fish see their kids as a meal. They don't care, they don't know they're related to them, so they're like, oh, yummy, and they eat them. So what you want to do is once the female starts showing signs of being near the end of her pregnancy, which means she will have a dark black gravid spot and she'll be squared off, and I'll pop up a photo of what that looks like. But once she starts getting near the end of her pregnancy, you want to put her into a breeder box or into a Tupperware container, and you just want to wait it out. And once she has the babies, you take her out and she can go immediately back into the main tank. Pregnancy doesn't take effect on a fish as much as it would a human. They act like nothing happened. Sometimes there is the off chance that your fish will die in labor, but that's very, very rare, and your fish already has to be unhealthy for that to happen. A guppy pregnancy will last about a month. So if you're doing very selective breeding, you put a month after their exposure date in your calendar, and that's around the time that they will give birth. Once the guppies are born, they don't need their mom. Fish don't need their parents the same way a rabbit or a dog does. From then on, it's all on you. You have to feed them very small, crushed up flakes several times a day. A fish's growth rate will depend on how frequently you're feeding them. So if you want them to grow fast, you have to feed them frequently. But you also have to pay attention to the quality of the water, because if your fish has a low water quality, it can and will die. It can get ammonia poisoning and die, and the fry, which are baby fish, are especially susceptible to it. Reminder that guppies are live-bearing fish, so they do give birth to live young. Alright, I think that's everything. If I missed anything, just go ahead and let me know, and I'll make a community post with updated knowledge and stuff. Bye, guys!